The lights were dim, soft purple bleeding across the rented hall, the kind of glow that hides imperfections and makes lies look almost beautiful. I stood at the edge of the dance floor, watching my daughter in her pale blue dress, 16 years old, laughing, surrounded by friends. Then I saw him, the police chief's son, lean in, too close. His hand hovered over her cup. His thumb flicked, subtle, a silver glint. The ice shifted in the drink. My gaze moved to my wife. She wasn't watching our daughter. She was leaning toward her friend, lipstick curling into a smirk. And then I heard it, clear, casual. She'll learn to keep quiet, like I did at her age. The words didn't drop. They sliced. My daughter raised the cup to her lips. I crossed the room before the swallow was complete. My hand closed around the glass, too late to stop the taste, not too late to stop the damage. "Party's over," I said, my voice calm enough to make people freeze. My wife's smile faltered. I didn't explain, I didn't yell, I just took my daughter by the arm and walked her out into the cold night air. At the hospital, the fluorescent lights turned her skin pale. She blinked slowly, confused, the doctor's voice distant behind the pounding in my head. Sedative, small dose, enough to blur, enough to make her compliant. I didn't need to ask where it came from, I already knew. But the real poison had been in my wife's words. She'll learn to keep quiet. It wasn't a joke, not from her, not from the woman who avoided certain topics with a practiced elegance. Not from the woman who, early in our marriage, would shut down every time I asked about her teenage years. Memories surfaced. Faint bruises she claimed were from clumsiness. Friends she avoided at certain events. And that night, years ago, when she came home trembling after a visit with an old acquaintance. I didn't push then. I told myself, people have private ghosts. I thought love meant letting them haunt in peace. Now I understood. She hadn't just survived something, she'd surrendered to it. And she was willing to let our daughter do the same. I moved in silence for the next 3 days. No accusations, no questions, just the careful collection of threads. First, security footage from the hall. Not easy to get, but money has its ways of loosening digital locks. I watched the boy's hand in slow motion, the flick of his thumb, the glass tilting just enough to take the drop. Second, the guest list, cross-referenced with his friends. I traced back a private message my wife had sent to his mother a week before the party. Polite, warm, an invitation too personal to be accidental. Third, her phone. I didn't need to guess her passcode. People rarely change what they think no one will notice. The messages were small, coded in the language of women who know exactly what they're agreeing to without spelling it out. She needs to learn early. It will make life easier. My hands didn't shake. My pulse didn't rise. This wasn't rage. This was precision. The last piece came when I called my lawyer. We spoke in short sentences, the kind that carry weight without wasted breath. Custody, documentation, quiet moves before the storm. By the time I was ready, I wasn't just holding proof. I was holding the kind of truth that burns through skin. The envelope was thick, heavy. I slid it across the table one evening, after dinner. She was sipping wine, scrolling through her phone. "What's this?" I didn't answer. She opened it, pulled out the still frames from the footage, the hospital toxicology report, and the printed text messages. The shift was almost imperceptible, just a soft exhale, the kind you let out when you're caught and know there's no point in denying it. "You don't understand," she said. I leaned back, letting her words hang in the air, rot in the silence. I was trying to prepare her. The world, no. My voice was quiet, almost gentle. You were trying to make her like you. Her hand tightened around the paper, the edges bending. She looked for anger in me, something to fight against, but I didn't give it. I just watched. And I think that's when she realized she'd already lost. The divorce papers were served the next morning. Alongside them, emergency custody orders. I didn't pack much, just what my daughter needed. My wife stood in the doorway as we left, her voice shaking for the first time. "You can't just take her away from me!" I paused, my hand on the doorframe, my daughter's small suitcase in my grip. "You gave her away," I said. "I'm just taking back what's mine." The boy's father tried to call me that night. He left a voicemail, calm at first, then furious, then desperate. I saved it. My lawyer would know what to do with it. I didn't need to ruin their careers. I just needed them to know I could. Power doesn't come from using the knife. It comes from letting them see you holding it, steady. A week later, we were gone. No forwarding address, no familiar cities, just a quiet place where my daughter could breathe without looking over her shoulder. She doesn't know everything yet. She doesn't need to. Not now. As for my wife, she'll tell whatever story she needs to survive. That's what she's always done. The difference is, no one has to believe her anymore. I don't think about her often. When I do, it's not with hate. It's with the same cold clarity you feel when you realize the storm has passed. Not because it raged and died, but because you walked out of its path. Some truths don't set you free. They just cut the chains you didn't know were there. And once they're cut, you don't look back.